Gun ownership is shaping up to become a political flashpoint in the lead-up to this November's state election. The results of a snap review of Victoria's gun laws will be handed to the Victorian Parliament this month. The review was commissioned in the wake of December's Bondi massacre, and it's not known when Jacinta Allen will make its findings public. State political reporter Nicole Asher has this Stateline special.
For me, it's 100% calmness. It's almost a meditative state. You've got to clear your mind, concentrate on your breathing.
Shooting's more than a sport for Daryl Snowden.
I kind of grew up around gun clubs. My mother let me go once I could walk.
But the activity that's shaped his life is facing big change, the most significant since the reforms following the Port Arthur massacre 3 decades ago.
The government will establish a national gun buyback scheme to purchase surplus, newly banned and illegal firearms.
State and territory leaders have unanimously agreed to strengthen gun control.
Federal Parliament has passed tougher gun laws tonight.
After 15 people were killed at Bondi Beach and dozens injured during the shooting attack targeting Hanukkah celebrations, gun laws around the country are being reassessed. In Victoria, Jacinta Allen announced a snap review of gun laws.
To look at what further work needs to be done here in Victoria so our gun laws reflect the contemporary risks of today.
People are genuinely sceptical of government and their intentions and are really anxious to see what comes out and what the government does.
There are about 100 benches lined up along here, and come the weekend, they're all full. And talking to shooters, there's real fear around what law changes could mean for the sport and the community that's established around it.
The Premier's so-called rapid review is being done by former Police Chief Ken Lay, looking at what needs to be done to support the national gun crackdown and whether Victoria needs to go further. He's due to hand his final report to the Allen Government this month, making recommendations around how firearms are categorised, capping the number of guns a person can own, how Victoria can work with a national firearms register, and a gun buyback to be co-funded by the state and the Commonwealth.
What we've seen is a proliferation of firearms, an ownership pattern which sees people being able to have as many firearms as they want.
Victoria's home to roughly a quarter of Australia's guns, so a buyback scheme will be expensive, even if the cost is split. A recent buyback in Western Australia cost the Cook government $64 million. A quarter of that state's legal firearms, or 84,000 guns, were handed over for payments between $200 and $1,000. But in Victoria, there are close to 1 million guns, owned by 244,000 licence holders, meaning a gun buyback here could cost towards $180 million.
When we look at this issue from a public safety point of view and a public health point of view, the fewer firearms in our community, the better.
Among shooters, there's little appetite for any reform.
Is this something that would change or impact the way you would vote or people you know, do you think?
Yeah, I think it would.
We hope that the government, whatever this review comes out with, then takes a really considered approach and makes sure that if there are any changes that they're well thought through and that they don't impact licensed law-abiding people.
Back in 2023, hundreds of electrical trades union members walked off government job sites, angry about moves to curtail Victoria's duck hunting season. The government eventually backed down. Advocates for reform say a lot of the resistance comes from the powerful gun lobby.
We understand the pressure that governments are being put under, and we can see that in Queensland, Tasmania and Northern Territory. But we're very hopeful that the Victorian Government will stand up to that pressure.
Conservative-led Queensland and the Northern Territory have opted out of the national gun buyback, and Tasmania will pay a premium for surrendered guns, as opposed to the market value expected to be offered in other states.
To be well regulated is what we need, and we are really well regulated. And so we should. It's a great privilege to have firearms, and that comes with great responsibility.
The Allen Government has promised to release the review and its response to the public.
If Victoria plans to act in line with agreements made at National Cabinet, new laws governing how a gun buyback will operate need to be legislated before the middle of the year. It means the heat in this debate will only increase as the election draws nearer. Nicole Asher, ABC News, Melbourne.